Morning, guys. I just want to see if you can hear me. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? All right, good. All you'll really need today, you guys, just so you know, is a dumbbell. We're going to do a one-arm chest press and then a kettlebell. And the kettlebell will be something that would be heavy to swing, even though you're not going to swing it. It should be like your typical heavy kettlebell load. We've got Pete and Lindsay here, and they're going to take you through the training session. Now, it's a Sunday, so I just want to make you aware of the fact that on Sunday we're going to spend like the first 15 minutes or so working on some mobilizations and some of the soft tissue. Last week we worked on the squat. Lindsay, you were here. And the bottom of the squat, and we did a 1 minute like bottom of squat hold, and we talked about loading the tissue and how that made it different and easier. We're going to continue on. We did some work for your hip. Remember, we said like bias flexion in the front of the hip and extension. Well, we're going to work on the ankles today. So there is a theme. There's a point to what we're doing. I just want you to know. You're going to start by going for 90 seconds. We'll go on my clock, and it's just run, bike, or row. This doesn't have to be fast at all. Okay, nice and easy for 90 seconds, you guys. And that's all it is. Run, bike, or row for 90 seconds. Nice and steady. The training week that is coming up is going to be a pretty tough training week, just so you know. And it'll be difficult for you to manage unless you're willing to get some recovery in and pay pretty close attention to how you're feeling. Now, today is definitely not that. Today is not that. But we will get some things cooking a little bit. 1 minute. Can you guys hear me okay? Pete, do you hear me okay?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah. We got like, I've got them surrounded by 10 fans on full blast.
Oh, yeah.
And the garage door's open. So, it's not easy doing what they do. About 30 seconds, you guys. And when you're done, you're going to come off, and I'll just kind of walk you through this. If you were here last week, this will become a little bit of a theme. I want to work on this. And I think you probably won't appreciate it yet, but someday you will. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, fine, come on. Okay, I'm gonna roll a 2-minute timer. Lindsay, you did this last week with us. I just want you to go to the bottom of your squat. Just squat all the way down. Yep, as low as you can go, and you're gonna stay there for 2 minutes. Okay, so you'll see Pete and Lindsay. They can hang out in that bottom position, and I'm just gonna give you what are your diagnostics here? Yeah, if you're like, can't do it too much, don't worry. Instead of holding on to something, do what you have to do to like roll up onto the toes if you have to. Or if you have to stand up in like every like 10 seconds or so. Do that. Because in a minute, we're going to load this so that it becomes easier. But I want you to do it without holding on to anything. Okay, and I want you to try and last for 2 minutes, even if it's like, hey, I can last 20 seconds, then I got to come up, shake the legs out, go back down. The toes are forward, the foot is evenly pressured on the ground. This is what's normal. Okay, the toe, the ball of the foot and the heel are all on the ground. The toes are forward. Okay, the back is flat. Okay, you can see Lindsay's back is flat. Pete's back is rounded, and that's okay. You're still a good guy. She's just better than you.
My posture's terrible.
Pete said to Lindsay on the way in, he said, I'm going to crush you today. Is that what your quote, is that what you said?
I actually said, beat your ass today.
I'm going to beat your ass today. That's what Pete said to Lindsay.
I'm probably not going
This is on YouTube Live. It's censored for kids.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. You guys, you got about 30 seconds left. This is a really good diagnostic for some of you who are like, this is hard. Where does this hurt? If you're like, oh my gosh, I have to bring my heels off the ground, your ankles are tight. If your hips are dying, your hips are tight. If you watch one foot turn out as opposed to the other, okay, this is just a really good diagnostic to see where your faults are. And it looks like most of you can kind of hang, but some of you it's tough, right? Paul, I see that it's tough for you. Good, that's all right. 5 seconds. We're going to build our way up in this, you guys. Not today, but 3, 2, 1, rest. Come on up. I'll give you 90 seconds. Just pick your speed up a little bit on the run, the bike, or the road. 90 seconds. Okay, so now the next thing we do, same thing we did last time, is we're going to load that bottom position with a kettlebell, a dumbbell, something. 3, 2, 1, go. You're on. So we're going to load it with something that will make it a little bit more challenging to hang out, a little bit easier to hang out in that bottom position. So for example, hold on. Hey Andrew, hold on. We're going 90 seconds first before we load it. Yes, 90 seconds first. Yeah, there you go. But you got the right idea. That's coming next. That's coming next. Good. So this is about another minute of just picking it up a little bit on the run, the bike, or the row. Picking up a little bit. And then we're going to hold the bottom position of a squat with a load. And what you're going to find is that you can fix a lot of your problems by loading your tissue. You can hold a dumbbell, a kettlebell, anything. But for some of you who are like, I can't stay down there. My, heels come off the ground or whatever it is, you will fix a lot of your problems here, or I couldn't get my back flat. You'll fix a lot of your problems by loading the tissue. And so that's something you want to pay attention to. This is actually a great mobility practice. Hang out in the bottom of your squat, loaded. 10 seconds, you guys. 3, 2, 1, rest right there. Good. Okay, good job. So now, I'll put another timer on. We're going to go for another 2 minutes. Okay, and you're going to grab something, kettlebell, dumbbell, doesn't have to be heavy, and you're going to go right back down to the bottom of your squat, and you'll hold there for 2 more minutes. Could be anything. 3, 2, 1, and you're on. Yep, good. So this will allow you, there you go, Pete, so now your back is a little bit in a little bit better position. Good, and Pete and Lindsay, of course, can hang here really nicely, and that's right. So this load kind of presses you into a bottom position, and so again, for those of you like, oh my hip, or oh my ankle, or whatever it is, okay, now you can see that this load mobilizes the tissue for you. Good. And again, it's like, yeah, we're going to go for 2 minutes, but if you're like, hey, I got to stand up and shake things out every 30 seconds or so, do it. Absolutely. This is a good way to mobilize. I like to pay attention to what my feet are doing here, because sometimes you're like, oh, why is my right foot turned out and my left foot is straight forward? Well, there's something going on in the ankle on that side, the knee, the hip, something that's forcing you to kind of dump some of the torque and stability that you've created. And yes, some of you are like, oh my gosh, this is killing my back. If it's killing your back, it's not your back, it's downstream. It's your hip, okay? Something at your hip, most likely, is not allowing you to get to that bottom position. Do you have to live in this bottom position? No, you don't. You don't have to get here, but what is normal is to be able to get your hip below your knee, with your toes forward and your feet flat on the ground with your back flat. That's normal. Okay, you got about 25 seconds. Yeah, and you can kind of, it's whatever. We're working our way into this. It's like, yeah, I stand up I have to roll onto my toes every 30 seconds. Okay, I can't keep my heels. My ankles are a little bit of a mess. So I'm working on it. 10 seconds. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Perfect. Well done, guys. Okay, so hop back up. 90 seconds again here. So it's 90 seconds to just work a little bit faster, not much. Okay, just add a little bit of speed to this. Yep. Clock rolls in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're on. Okay, so now we're rolling here for 90 seconds. You're kind of starting to feel a little bit warm. Okay, we're gonna get there. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mobilize the ankle. Okay, and Pete and Lindsay will show you, but one of the ways that we can mobilize the ankle is using a heavy load, and just kind of pressing into that position with that heavy load. Okay, so if you have something laying around that's heavy, you'll watch Pete and Lindsay, they'll show you how to do this. Now last week we spent some time mobilizing the hip. We immobilized the front of the hip in extension. We mobilized the back of the hip in flexion. And then we went on our way. This time, we're gonna mobilize the ankle, and then we're gonna do 2 more minutes in the bottom position of that squat. And I'm telling you, the more time you spend in that bottom position of your squat, the more time you spend there, the more mobility you get. The more the ankles start to mobilize, the more the hips, you'll find yourself being able to get into a better position. Good. Rest right there. So you can watch Pete and Lindsay now, and they're gonna kneel down on one knee. They're gonna grab the heaviest load that they can find, okay? And all you're gonna do, which one of you guys show them a profile view kind of what you're doing? Like so, yeah, there you go, Pete, keep going. There you go, perfect. Yep, all they're gonna do is use the load to press the knee as far forward as they can. Yep, and there you go, and keep the heel on the ground. Okay, that's perfect. And you can see, like, if you, this is such a perfect angle because you can see Lindsay is so much, she's got like 50% more range of motion in her ankle, that's shocking. That's unbelievable, by the way. And I'm gonna have you hold here for about a minute, you guys. So I'll give you about another 45 seconds. But what's key here is that you have some load on the tissue pressing and driving that knee as far forward. Maintaining position. Let's go for about another 25 seconds. Yep, so you really are working on this, pressing and driving that knee as far forward as you can. 15 seconds. Good. Heel stays down, the ankle stays right over the middle of the foot, the arch stays open. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Switch. So we're going to go to the other side. So if you were that person who's like, I can't squat, my heels come up, I can't hang here, this will help you, okay? Here we go, guys. You're back on. So my clock is running again. You're pressing forward. And I always like this single-sided mobility because it's like, hey, which side has more range of motion? Okay, which side has a greater range? Yep, and you can see even on Pete and Lindsay, Lindsay's much more mobile on the left side than she is on the right side. That's 1 point for you, Pete.
+1?
That's +1 for you.
Yeah,
I mean, you're down like 4 or 5, but
right.
you're starting to make your comeback. Yeah.
I usually run like...
All right, guys, 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest right there. Rest. Good. Okay. So here's what we've got. You're going to hop on. This is 90 seconds. I want you to hit your 1 minute all out in 90 seconds. Okay. So Lindsay, what's yours again? I can't remember. 21?
Yeah, around there.
21. But you have 90 seconds to hit it. Okay. Pete, you're probably at like 25, something like that.
I'm like 2 minutes.
Okay. So hit your 1 minute all out.
Are you
Calories, we're measuring calories, in 90 seconds. Okay, it's fine. 3, 2, 1, you're on. Yep, good. Yep, so you're working, but it's pretty simple to manage. It's like 80%. 80%. You got plenty of time. 80%. Okay, there you go. You got plenty of time. Good. Yep, just meant to speed things up a bit. Good, guys. Seconds. And if you get there early, come off. If you get there early, come off. Good. 20 seconds. Good. 15. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, rest. Good job. Okay, last 2 minutes, bottom of your squat. Last 2, okay? Let's see how that did, the ankle mobility. Let's see if it helped. Clock starts in 10 seconds. Unloaded, you guys. Just bottom of your squat. Unloaded, let's go. Good, thanks Pete. Lindsay, good. Yep, and again, same thing. You're just trying to see like, hey, did that ankle mobility, did it make things better, worse? Is it the same? And you have, like, you can self-diagnose here, right? You easily can. I've given you the language and the tools. Does my heel come off the ground? Can I get my hip below my knee? Can I keep my back flat? Are my feet straight forward? Is the ankle over the middle of the foot? 30 seconds. Good. And you do your thing. It's okay to be like, I have to pull my heels up a little bit, okay? It's okay. Do you feel binding and tightness in the front of the hip? Okay, is that what's happening? If that's what's happening, maybe you have some tightness in the hip flexor, the front of your hip. Okay, but all of these things are good things to pay attention to, and then this is how you develop your mobility practice. What do you want to spend 10 minutes on each evening before you go to bed? Ankle mobility? I don't know. You want to do it? You want to spend it on hip mobility? We did that last week. You got about 40 seconds, 45 seconds, you guys. And again, you can feel free to manage this however you want. And I know if you're like, oh, my lower back, okay, a big part of that is because the hip is tight. Okay, that's what happens there. And so your back is rounded. That's why it's important to get that keep that back flat. You guys got about 30 seconds, but I know you can't keep it flat until you buy some space in your hip. Okay, about 25 seconds. Good. Yeah, and that looks like it's better. Tammy, that's looking better. Good, Robin. Looks like you just chill out there. Good. That's it, Paul. Good. 15 seconds, and then we're going to break into these 3 strength activities, okay? 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, rest. So 3 strength activities, you guys. And here's what I want to have happen. There's 3 different ways that we can look at movement. We can look at the eccentric part of movement, like the negative part of movement, the one that gravity pulls us into. The concentric part of movement, the up part of movement against gravity, and then no movement, like a holding position. So one activity for each one of those 3 categories of movement. Okay, the first one, okay, is going to be a single leg RDL. Yep, so you'll watch these guys. They're going to be on one foot, and they're going to really take their time and go super slow, keeping their leg as straight as they possibly can. So I don't want the knee to bend at all. Uh-oh, Pete. Yeah, there you go. Yep, I want the back to stay flat and the shoulders to be pulled back. You guys should switch positions.
Yeah, I get it. Don't do what I do.
So watch here. Good. Yep, okay, so you get it. It's super slow. Okay, super slow, like on a 3 count. Good, rest there, rest there. Okay, that's activity 1. You'll do 8 reps. Okay, activity 2, you're going to watch Pete do this one first. You're going to grab your kettlebell, Pete.
Yeah.
And you're going to press this thing overhead. Good. And you're going to lock your elbow out. Yep. Yep, there you go. And turn your thumb back. There you go. Rib cage in tight, make the quads rigid, able to breathe and connect. And you're going to hold for 30 seconds. Now, hold on. Pete's going to do that. Lindsay, I want you to get on that wall behind you and do a single leg wall sit. So you guys are going to pick, yep, all the way down to 90 degrees, one leg, and she's going to hang here. Okay, so you can pick what you want to do. If you're like, I don't want to go overhead, or I don't have room in my basement to do that, she's doing a one-leg wall sit. It's 30 seconds per side. You're picking one or the other here. Okay, one or the other. Okay, that's the isometric activity. Okay, that's the activity there's no movement. The third activity is a single arm dumbbell chest press. Okay, single arm dumbbell chest press. And here's what I want it to look like. You're going to anchor your feet to the ground. Yep, one of you guys go, or both, that's fine. You're going to anchor your feet to the ground, and you're going to get in this flat back position. So your lower back press to the ground, and then I want you to press, but I want your thumb to turn back on this press. Yep, so your palm faces in. You got it, 100%. Okay, and you're going to go through, and I want you to count 20 of these on each side, 20 on each side. Okay, so we have 3 activities here. Okay, you're picking either the overhead position, if you can lock out. Okay, if you can't, then maybe a single leg wall sit is better for you. Okay, and that's okay, or if you don't have room. Okay, we're going to go through, and I'm going to give you 4 minutes to complete those 3 activities. It's 8 per side on the RDL. Okay, 8 per side on the RDL, 30 seconds in the lockout position, 30 seconds in the lockout position, and then 20 on each side on the chest press. Okay, 3 simple strength activities every 4 minutes. So if you want rest, you can have rest, but you'll have to kind of move pretty quickly through this. So I'll give you 4 minutes to go through, and we're going to shoot for 3 or 4 rounds. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how you guys feel. Again. Okay, so 2 clocks running. You guys can see your clock up there. Rest of you guys, yep. These are super slow. Okay, so I want them to be slow. I want them to, I want you to make sure you feel your hamstrings working here. You don't have to get to the ground. You do not have to get to the ground. That is not my point. I want you to prioritize the position of your spine. So pull your shoulder blades back. Good. There you go. You should feel tension on your hamstrings the whole time you're working. Tension the whole time you're working on your hamstrings. And again, a lot of this is motor control. A lot of this is just balance. Okay, and you'll be able to change load if you have a different load. You'll be able to change load because this will get easier each round because you're going to start to get used to that loaded single leg balance. Good. When you are done with 8 per side, what you're going to find is this lockout for 30 seconds only really works if you've got a load that's heavy enough. Thumb back. Good, Paul. Your palms facing in. Your rib cage is pulled in tight, so you're not overextended in your spine. You have to be able to squeeze your butt in this position, holding for 30 seconds. Again, if the load is heavy enough, it works. If it's not, I would do the wall sit. So if you're like, I just don't have anything heavy enough, I love the idea of the kettlebell, because if you watch Pete, that kettlebell pushes into his forearm, and that then allows him to lock his elbow out, and you should feel your tricep working here. Your tricep, that's the muscle on the back of your arm. You should feel that doing a lot of work. And the shoulder should be what's creating stability. Okay? If your elbow is bent and you've got a heavy enough load, this would be really, really heavy to manage. Okay? If you can lock out, like you can see Pete, okay? If you can lock out, turn the thumb back, there you go, Pete. Yep, so you wind that shoulder up. If you can lock out, it's manageable. You're like, hey, my shoulder's doing a ton of work here, my tricep, okay, maybe it's getting heavy, you gotta breathe. You should be able to squeeze the butt, quads rigid. Good, guys. Yep, 30 seconds per side, and then 20 chest press on each side. So you got about 90 seconds to get there. These are very simple strength activities. Good, and you guys can kind of go at your own pace here. I'm giving you a full 4 minutes. I just put a 4-minute timer on it because I was like, you know what? I feel like we should have some consistency here. Good. Yeah, you guys are right. 20 per side, 20 per side, with the palm facing in the whole time, Lindsay. So that, yep, the whole time, good. Yep, so we just changed the dynamic of that press a little bit. The palm faces in a little bit. The palm faces in the whole time. And it's the same position. Now it's a different archetype of the shoulder. It's a different shape. It's a press shape. It's not an overhead shape. But we still keep that thumb back, and just to change things up a little bit here. Okay, that's it. And it's just a way to also create some stability in that shoulder. So in about another 20 seconds, and you can see it gets pretty tight here to make your way through these. In about another 15 seconds, we're just going to roll into round 2. Okay, that's it. We're just going to roll into round 2, and we'll see. Maybe we do 3 rounds. We'll see, guys. Probably 3. We'll see. 5 seconds. 4. And if you're like, yeah, leave me alone. I just want to go at my own pace. Go at your own pace. 3, 2, 1. Yep. And you, again, you're like, okay, I'll finish this up and then move on to my next round. That's fine. I just put the 4-minute cap there because I'm like, yeah, I want to keep things moving. And this looks right. Yep. It looks like you guys are doing it correctly. Good. Yep. So again, back to that single leg RDL where you are really being intentional with how you are slowing this down on the way down. So it's got to be slow. Remember, we talked about 3 types of movement here: eccentric, concentric, and isometric. This is eccentric. Okay, you're going against gravity. You're trying to slow this down as much as you can. You really want to keep your back in a nice flat position. So Pete, your back is getting really rounded here. So prioritize saying like, hey, look, I got to squeeze my shoulder blades. Good, and then know your end range. Know your end range. Now we've had this discussion before, and I've also talked about it in a blog that I wrote, which was how come some of you are like, my back is flat? And then you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not. Well, that's because you sit too much. Okay? Anything more than 2 hours of sitting a day is now what the World Health Organization deems as sedentary. So if you're sitting for any more than 2 hours, you are considered sedentary. And along with that, just so you know, comes 18%. You're 18% higher, you're 18% more at risk for any chronic disease. Whatever, I'm just saying, stop sitting. Okay, next activity, the overhead press. Holding or the wall sit. 30 seconds each side. Good, and again, what I like about these isometric and slow activities is you have a chance to actually connect to what you're doing. You could easily just be like, I'm going to hold this over my head and chill out. But what I'm hoping is that you're like, I really have to connect here. I really got to think about locking my elbow out. I got to think about turning my thumb back, my palm in, my rib cage in tight. What's my spine doing? Do I have access to control my pelvis by squeezing my butt? Like, I think all those things are great, and you can do those when you're moving slow. You cannot do those when you are moving quickly. That's the problem. You got about 90 seconds, and again, if you're like, whatever, I get through like 20 or 10 chest press on each side, that's fine. Whatever works best for you. Or you can be like, yeah, I'm going to work at my own pace. That's one way to take that thing down, Pete. Bring it to your shoulder first and then take it down. Yeah. About a minute here, you guys, to work on that chest press. About a minute to work on that chest press. And again, it could be 10 per side. You could do it, 20 per side. However you want to do it. It's really up to you. In about another 45 seconds, we're going to move on to the 3rd round. But again, you might be like, you know what? I'm going to just keep working at my own pace. It's totally fine. Good. And it seems to me the trickiest piece of this work is that single leg RDL for some of you. So look, I can tell you this. If you're like, I feel this in my hamstring, here's a diagnostic, and my hip, great. If you're like, no, I feel my lower back, that's because your back is rounded. So then I would give you a 3rd option here. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our third round. You can either be like, no, I'm gonna keep doing my presses, or I'll move on. It's totally up to you. So here, I always prioritize the position of the spine, always. So if you're like, I can't, like Robin, that's perfect. Okay, so you can see, like, not going all the way to the bottom position and prioritizing where your back is more important. If you're like, I gotta get to the bottom, what's the only lever that you can pull? Bend your knee. So Pete, bend your knee a bunch this time. Bend it, bend it. Oh my gosh. Bend it more.
More?
Yeah, your back is really rounded, like rounded. So bend it more, like you're squatting. Good, there you go. Now we're talking. Now your back stayed flat. Good. Yep, that's better. That's better. Good. Okay, so you guys, you have 3 minutes here to do this work. 3 minutes. Good, Lindsay. Yep, good guys. That's better, Pete. Good, yep, Pete, I see, I know. Good, that's better though with that knee bent. Okay, now you're prioritizing the position of your spine. So it's always the first thing that you have to make sure you're doing. Good, guys, yep. When you get to that overhead press, again, even if it's a light load, that is totally fine. Even if it's a light load, that's fine. It still gives you the option to to hold or switching up. Yeah, Lindsay, so you got to be really careful in this position. Good, because Lindsay's, you can see with her elbow, she can hyperextend that elbow, right? So, yep, so this is not a great position for Lindsay to hang in. Good, but that feels okay there, Lindsay? Okay, yep, good guys. So the elbow should be straight, not bent, and you can see Lindsay's elbow is bent the opposite direction. Good. In all of this, just figuring out how to create stability around the shoulder. That's good though. This looks good. And again, I think, you know what, I like this, and we're gonna do another round here. Because I feel like if we were to stop at the end of this, it'd be like just cutting it short. So we're gonna end up doing 4 rounds. Paul, get that palm turned back as best you can. Yes, Paul, that's way better. That's way, way better. And that helps you create some stability around that shoulder that you really wouldn't normally do if you weren't holding and pausing in that top position. Good, Andrew. Yep, you guys, so you're just working now on, most of you working on that chest press, and in about a minute, yep, in about a minute we're going to move on here. In about a minute we're going to move on. We're going to do our 4th round. And again, it's Sunday. I have no intention of making any of you go like, oh my gosh, that was the worst workout ever. That was so hard. The intention here is more around saying, hey, can I get a little bit of focused work done, dialed in work, where I'm thinking about position. That's great, Robin. Hey. I'm thinking about position, and at the same time, I'm able to, you know, maybe sweat a little bit. But this should not be crushing. It's not designed to be crushing. I don't want it to be crushing. Good, guys. Yep. Good. So there's the top. We are going to do one more round. Yep, we're going to do one more round. I feel like 3 would be just kind of like, okay, kind of was getting there. Let's do this 4th round. Good. And again, different ways to figure this out. Always prioritizing the position of the spine first. Good. Slow. Remember the key is we talked about the eccentric work. Making sure that this is slow. Making sure that you're moving slowly. That's the key here. Good. Good, guys. Yep, that's good, Robin. And a big part of this is understanding what your end range is, right? So if I were to show you a picture of yourself and you're like, my back is flat, and then in your end range your back is rounded, you're missing some range, you're missing some proprioception. Good. Yep. Good. So in about another 2 minutes and 50 seconds, we will change the face of what we're doing here. And again, none of this designed to be crushing at all in any way, shape, or form. Not the case. But I just wanted to make sure that I frame this up for you guys so that you understand it. Good. So we're getting there, right? You guys are okay. Whew. 2 minutes.
This one.
One side better than the other, Pete?
Yeah, we'll see this time. It's all better.
Good. You guys got about a minute 45 seconds to go. That's way better. Paul, good. Robin, good, guys. Tammy, that's good. Andrew, good, guys. 30 seconds again in this lockout position. And then if you're like, yeah, I want to get after it a little bit, I have two things that we can do. Good. Yeah, that's right. So a couple things that you can think about here is winding the shoulder up, so getting the thumb back and pressing the armpit forward. So you press the armpit forward a little bit. Yeah, that'll help. And you can create like just finding ways that you're like, oh, that feels more stable. That feels less stable. That's what I hope happens here. Oh, whoa, Pete, man, that's a tough way to take that thing down. Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, well, it's okay. So now you know. One side better than the other. Last set, you guys. In about 45 seconds, we're going to move on. And again, like whatever. Yeah, I got 15. I didn't get 20 chest thrusts. I got 12 instead of 20. Who cares? My point here is let's just do the best we can. So when you're done with this, or whether or not you're done, in about 30 seconds, we're going to take a few minutes and spin things up. Very simple. Nothing crazy here. Very simple. About 15 seconds. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest right there. Okay, good. Rest there. So you guys, we're going to use these very classic high intensity intervals where it's 20 seconds on and 10 seconds off. If you're like, yeah, I want to spin things up and sweat a little bit, great. If you're like, I'm just going to take it easy, you have a bunch of options here. You can just follow along but be like, yeah, I'm going to go at like 50%. You could hop back onto the mobility work we were doing in the beginning. Or if you're like, no, I want to get after it, it's 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. Run, bike, or row. 20 on, 10 rest, run, bike, or row. Hold on, it's not that easy. I know it's a Sunday, and so I said it'd be easy, but I have some standards. Okay, so I will give you 8 efforts. 8 efforts. 20 on, 10 off, 8 efforts. Gentlemen, oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. Gentlemen, you can come off if you hit 72 calories. So if you hit that on like round 6, boom, you're done. 72. Ladies, 56. 56. Okay, those are really tall, high expectations. So most of you are going to work straight through 8 rounds and just see how high you can get. Okay, again, if you're like, yeah, I just want to sweat a little bit, don't push on me. I won't. But I will say, I think it's good to have something to chase down. Okay, clock rolls in 10 seconds. It's 20 on, 10 off. You get 8 shots at this. Okay, and that's it. 8 shots at this. Clock rolls in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This right here will be it. And the numbers are 72 and 56. 72 and 56. 20 on, 10 off. 72 and 56. 5, 4, 3, 2, right there. You can have your rollover. You can have your rollover. 7 seconds. That's 1 down. Okay, we're going to do 7 more. 3, 2, 1, go ahead and go. Yep, so you're on now. Good, guys. Got about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, good job. 2 down, 3 to go. 5 seconds. Not a lot of rest here. 72 and 56. Let's go. Yep. That is what you're shooting for. If you happen to hit it early, please just come off. Yep, just come off your bike or your row or your run. And I can see that you're there. Good. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, right there. Good job. Third effort down. Okay, third effort down. See how this plays out. 5 seconds. Okay, you get your rollover now. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. There's 8 efforts. This is a very classic way to look at high intensity interval training. Good, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, rest right there. Good job. 4 down, halfway, asking for 72 or 56. If you're halfway there, maybe you're on to something. 3, 2, 1, go. Here we go. And this is it, by the way. You're done after this. This is all we've got. Good, 10 seconds, guys. Time right there. Good. 6, 7, and 8 to go. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and here we go. You're rolling. Good, guys. There's 10 seconds on this one. Interval number 6. 3, 2, 1, rest there. Good job. 2 more. So far, everybody's working. Looking for 72 or 56. Let's go. Here we go. You're on. Or as close as you can. I mean, whatever at this point. Good job, guys. Good, Andrew. Good. Good. 7 seconds. 3, 2. We got 1 more. Either one of you guys gonna make it? Maybe? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. You're on. Come on, Lindsay. If you're close, might as well, right? Good, guys. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Rest right there. Good. Rest and recover. That is it. Good job. Lindsay, make it?
Yes.
Well done. Pete?
No.
Okay. Okay, all right. Maybe next Sunday you can take Lindsay down. You guys, good work. Again, Sunday, very simple. Mobility. Hopefully you learned a little something about where you can add to your own mobility practice. We worked on the ankle today. This week we're back out. We've got a super engaging training session tomorrow, working our way up towards these massive 2-minute efforts. So we'll be working on 90 seconds tomorrow. Otherwise, you guys enjoy your Sunday, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow at some point. Bye, guys.